What up, y'all? Welcome to Flynndogg Woodwork. So do you like surfing YouTube trying to find unique hacks to solve those problems in your workshop? Well, I love doing it. And I found 7 unique hacks that I think you've never seen before. Let's take a look at these 7 hacks and see if they can help you out. Oh, hey, I'm up here. So ever since I created this first hack, I've had a real problem getting my glove stuck to the Velcro on my rafters. Why do I have Velcro on my rafters? I don't know, I do weird things. However, having Velcro on a glove can be a powerful tool for you when you're doing your finishing sanding in your shop. So what are we going to need for this hack? You're going to need some spray adhesive, some Velcro, and Michael Jackson's glove. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our Velcro and we're only going to use the hook portion of it. We're going to cut 5 4-inch strips. Unless you're a guy like this, you'll only need 3. So as I said before, there's 2 parts to Velcro. There's the hooked portion and then the looped portion. We're going to cut 5 strips 4-inch long of the hooked portion, and then we can use our soft portion to make fake mustaches. Now when we cut the 4-inch strips of the hooked portion of the Velcro, it doesn't need to be exact. It just needs to be approximately 4 inches long, or the length of the fingers on your glove. So let's get started with that. And we'll cut 5 of these. Now that we've cut the 5 4-inch strips of Velcro, let's focus on the glove. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take our spray adhesive and spray it on the glove as well as the Velcro strips. Now just like with rubber cement, we're going to let that set for a bit. Once the glue has dried out for just a tad, we're then going to adhere each one of those pieces of Velcro to each one of the fingers on the glove. Now that this is rested for a bit, I can now attach the Velcro to the fingers of the glove. And this is a real sticky process. So at this point, your glove should sort of look like this. Now you will notice there's a lot of glue residue on that glove. However, if you remember from grade school, that glue will peel off and look like boogers, so don't worry about it. So at this point, you may be asking, why in the heck did you put a bunch of Velcro on an old glove? Well, let's grab a piece of hook and loop sandpaper and I'll show you exactly why. So just like with an orbital sander, we can place that sandpaper right on our fingertips of the glove, and that thing is securely fastened to the glove. And with the sandpaper adhered to the glove, you'll be amazed at how much control you have over that sandpaper when you're doing your finish sanding. You'll have complete control of that sandpaper right at your fingertips. But what if you need to put on another grit? Well, that couldn't be more easy. Simply take the old sandpaper off and apply a fresh piece of sandpaper to your glove. You'll be amazed at the types of shapes you can handle with this little hack, and you'll be surprised at the amount of control you have with your sanding. Well, that covers our first hack for the day. Before we move on to our second hack, I want to take this mustache off as it's got just a little bit too much flavor. So for our next hack, we're going to keep with the sanding theme. This next hack has everything to do with aligning those little holes in your sandpaper perfectly with your orbital sander. Let's go take a look at it. So sandpaper can be really difficult to perfectly place your sandpaper right on top of those holes, especially with a complicated sander like this Rotex. You'll spend all the time just trying to align those holes, and you'll find one side is aligned but the other side is just a little bit off. And that's what we're going to fix today. So I've got this old box of dowels with a variety of sizes, and I'm going to use this to figure out what size those holes are on my sander. Now with this box of dowels, I'm simply going to take a variety of different sized dowels and place them into the holes until I find the perfect fit. Once I have those dowels in place, I'll then place a piece of sandpaper onto the sander. Then I'll mark the corresponding holes on the sandpaper as to where the dowels are. Once I've done that, I'll find a piece of scrap plywood that's just a little bit larger than my sandpaper, and I'll mark out those lines onto the plywood. Now that we have our plywood marked out, I then can find the corresponding bit for each one of these dowels and drill out each one of these holes. So let's do that next. So for the 2 interior holes, I'm going to use a 1/4-inch Forstner bit to drill both of those holes out. With the 2 interior holes drilled out, I now can focus on the 2 exterior holes, which are at 5/16 of an inch. Now we can apply just a dab of glue into each hole and then drive our dowels into place. Now that we have those dowels seated into place, we now can load this jig up with some sandpaper. So let's do that now. So when you're loading your sandpaper onto this jig, you want to make sure that the rough side of the sandpaper is facing down. Now that we have our sandpaper loaded up, let me show you how this works. We simply take our sander and we place it over the jig. And we pull it off, and you can see there's sandpaper right on top of that orbital sander with all the holes perfectly lined up. So the frustration is over. A perfectly aligned piece of sandpaper right on your orbital sander. You could even make one of these for each of your grits of sandpaper. Well, I hope you enjoyed those first two sanding hacks. Now let's get on to the third one. So our next two hacks have nothing to do with sanding. They're all about improving the clamps that we have in our shop. Let me show you my first clamp hack. So do you have a bunch of wood clamps in your shop that simply won't move like they used to? They've got all sorts of wood glue on them and they're easily not maneuverable. Well, I've only got one clamp like this, and yes, I'm bragging. It's because I figured out the perfect solution to getting all that glue off your clamps. Let's take a look at this clamp and let's clean it up. So here she is. She's got all sorts of wood glue on her and she simply doesn't slide up and down like she used to. But there's an easy solution for this. Let me show you how I do it. Do the words Billy Mays mean anything to you? Well, they should, because he's going to help us out on this next project. We're going to use a little bit of Flex Seal. He's dead, dude. Okay, fine. That's not the only thing we're going to use. We're going to use some PVC piping as well as 2 end caps. And of course, some distilled white vinegar. Let's get started making this jig. So for this hack, I've cut down a piece of PVC piping to 32 inches long. And this is 1.5 inch PVC pipe. And the 1.5 inches is on the interior diameter of the pipe. And then we're going to take an end cap and simply slide it over the top. Once we've done that, I'm simply going to take some Flex Seal and spray it where the cap meets the pipe. Once that's done and the Flex Seal has dried up and cured, we're pretty much done. All we need to do is add the active ingredient, which is vinegar, to this pipe. So since I use this hack all the time, I actually made a stand for this. I've got 4 pipes here made in the same fashion with an end cap and sealed with Flex Seal. Now all I need to do is to add some vinegar. So now that I have all my pipes sealed up and filled up with white vinegar, now let's give some attention to the clamp. So all we're going to need to do is to remove one side of the clamp and just expose that entire bar. Now let's dip this in the vinegar. All that's left to do is to dip the clamp right into that vinegar. And as you can see, I overfilled it so it's overflowing, but that's okay. Now the nice thing about this hack is you can kind of set it and forget it.
Set it?
And it only takes about an hour or 2 to get all that glue off your clamps. However, if you're like me, you can set your clamp into that vinegar and let it set overnight. Now, if you're interested in building a clamp cleaning rack like the one I just showed, I have a whole video on it, so go check it out. So let's go check back in with that clamp and see if that vinegar's doing anything. Now, I've only had this clamp in here for about 1 hour, and as I pull the clamp out, I can already tell that the glue has started to change color and is coming loose from the clamp. Now, it may be hard to see here, but as I go down the clamp, you can see that that glue is just starting to peel off. In fact, I can take a rag and this will come right off that clamp. And if there is some that's sticking just a little bit, you can peel it off with your fingernails. Now, the longer you leave that clamp in the vinegar, the easier that glue will be to get off. In fact, if you leave it overnight, you can usually use a paper towel and all that glue will just strip right off. Now, one thing to note, if you do leave your clamp in there overnight, it will begin to develop a little bit of a patina. But this patina in no way affects the overall functionality of the clamp. Another thing to consider is to buy some extra end caps, as you can reuse this vinegar and save it for your next job. Well, I hope that simple little hack will allow you to get a lot of your old woodworking clamps back into working order. It really couldn't be easier, and the longer you can leave those clamps in the vinegar, the better off you'll be. So now let's get into our next easy clamp hack. So in this next clamp hack attack, we're going to take a look at the F clamp. This hack will really let you get a grip on things. So a lot of these F clamps have wooden handles. Now I'm fortunate enough to have a newer model and it's got a nice rubber handle. However, if you're dealing with a wooden handle, it can make it very hard to really grip down on your workpiece and not have your hand slip. And this hack was inspired by you guys. There was a comment on my last video that reminded me of an easy way to create a nice grip on a handle. So let's go take a look at it. So if you're from Canada or you're like me and you played hockey as a kid,
Touch my puck, baby! Don't you ever touch my puck!
You probably already know this. There is a ton of uses for hockey tape. Let's take a look at one of them. So there was a taping method that we used to use on our sticks that would give us a little extra grip and prevent that stick from sliding out of our gloves. Let me show you what we used to do. So the first thing we used to do is to roll out about 12 inches of tape, and then we would simply twirl it around until it became a rope. Just like that. Once we had that rope formed, we would take it and wrap it around our stick, or in this case the handle, and we'd wrap it in a helical fashion all around the handle. Just like this. Once we have that rope around the handle of the clamp, we then can tape around it. And if we take a closer look at the handle, you can see there's a nice helical pattern that will give you that extra grip to tighten up your clamp. So with just a little bit of hockey tape and a slippery F-clamp, you can create a slip-free handle with ease. Well, that's 4 hacks so far, 2 sanding hacks and 2 clamping hacks. Before we move on to the next item, I ask you to do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and leave a like, as it really does help out this small woodworking channel. Now let's move on to our 5th hack. So for the 5th and 6th hack, we're going to be hitting the bottle, but not the type of bottle you're thinking of. We're going to be talking about bottles we use in our workshop. Our first bottle relates to glue. Let's take a look at it. So I'm sure you've got some nearly empty bottles of glue in your shop, and it can be very difficult to get that glue out of the bottle when you're nearly running out. In fact, in a previous tip video, I created this little glue stand that allows you to set your glue upside down and allow the glue to fall to the bottom. But then the other day, when I was cramming a hot dog down my throat, I took a look at the ketchup and the mustard bottle. Those things are always upside down when they're not being used. Now, I've used condiment bottles for years. However, I've never used the real thing, and that's what we're going to do today. Instead of using a generic condiment bottle, we're going to use the real thing. So let's empty this condiment bottle into this new one. So instead of having to create a glue stand, you can simply fill up an old ketchup bottle or an old mustard bottle, and the glue will always be where you need it. But that's not the only bottle hack that we're going to be talking about today. Let's take a look at our second bottle hack as it relates to mineral spirits. So I love mineral spirits. Whether you're using it to clean off a project after you just got done sanding or take the paint off your hands, it's a very versatile chemical. But there's one thing I don't like about it, and that's the packaging. I hate these cans. So if you're like me, you take the can and you take some rags and you try to clean off your hands, spilling mineral salts everywhere. And that's when I started to think there's got to be an easier way to apply this chemical. Let me show you what I thought of. So I've got about 4 of these spray bottles laying around my shop, and typically I fill these with water. But then I thought, why don't I put some mineral spirits in here? So I grabbed my can and carefully tried to pour the mineral salts into the bottle without a funnel. I then labeled the bottle so I was sure not to drink it, and then just like that I had an easy to apply solution, and I didn't spill it everywhere or waste any of that spirit. Not only that, but I could easily spray it onto projects that I wanted to clean up. So I'm not quite sure why I didn't think about this until now, but having an easy to apply spray bottle of mineral salts versus a can that spills everywhere is a no-brainer. So that's 6 hacks down and only 1 left to go. This next hack has everything to do with using a carpenter square to make a perfect circle. Don't believe me? Let me show you. So I've got 2 carpenter squares in my shop. I've got this larger one and this smaller one. Now I've been very familiar that each one has a little hole at the top that allows you to easily hang it on the wall. Now what I wasn't familiar with, however, is there's a little notch right in the crotch of the square. And it's that little notch in the crotch that allows you to make a perfect circle using just 2 nails and a pencil. So let's go do it. So let's say we want to make a 6-inch diameter circle. We're going to take our ruler and we're simply going to scribe a line right at 0 inches and 6 inches. Once we've done that, I'm simply going to take 2 nails and tap them into both of those markings. Once we have those 2 nails in place, we're simply going to do a balancing act with that square on those nails using our pencil in that crotch. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So what we're trying to do here is to make sure that we have contact between the nail and the square at both points. So as we slide our square around, we're making sure that we have contact here and contact here at all times. And you can see from going around here, we have a half circle shape. So now let's put our pencil in and see if we can make a half circle. And you can see from this here, I have a perfect half circle. So with a large enough square and a couple of nails, you can create any size circle you want. If you want to complete that circle, you just repeat the process on the other side of the nails. So what a cool way to make a circle out of a square. When I saw this, I knew I had to share it with you. Well, that's going to do us for today, folks. I really hope you enjoyed seeing these 7 cool tips and hacks. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, leave a like, leave a comment, as I really do enjoy reading those. Until next time, take care as always.